Raider Nation, it's time to stand up.
Hey, just one time, I need it. Raiders. Third down and a long one. Jacobs back in the game. The rookie for the touchdown.
Snap of the gun. He's sacked. He is going down. Max Crosby. Pass on the slant, complete.
MMA is.
I didn't know.
I'm not sure how much I'm gonna watch in the future, but
yeah.
I think that I stayed away for a long time, but now I understand. I totally understand why.
You never watched it?
Yeah,
never watched it till 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine.
Man, I've been watching it since like UFC 1.
I'm not sure.
I've been watching it. I've been watching it since it was called Pride and it was overseas.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I've been watching.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
The Gracies and
all
those guys, man.
A lot of the Gracie cousins, they all live here. They train people.
Yeah, you think you were and Jamaicans they say they think you're a big man, a big woman.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Step in there.
Let's tell you what.
That's crazy.
I'll tell you what.
That's something. That's something else.
With the pipeline of boxers from Africa and Jamaica and like that's going to transcend MMA too.
Oh,
it's
no question.
It's going to be, you're going to have guys in fight classes that it's just going to happen.
Yeah. And then last point on it, I think the best thing about it is like the people who you want to see fight.
Multiple times.
They don't skirt around each other for 6 months, for a year, like the present day boxing, old school boxing. They used to fight. Now they just try to make as much money as possible. So Ken wasn't here last week. I didn't want to get your take on the re-upping of Colton Miller a little early, but Colton Miller. And listen, we talked about draft day when it was Colton Miller and Derwin James was sitting right there, and everybody was going crazy because Derwin James was not the pick. But now, I mean, Derwin James is probably a high ceiling player more so than Colton Miller. But as far as being consistent and being on the field, Colton Miller has been there for the Raiders since day one.
Yeah, I think he's earned it. I think that kind of like with the Darren Waller situation and the Derek Carr that we spoke about, there's going to be a moment where, he's going to be in that middle of the pack with the pay. And, if he walks in free agency, you're paying for an unproven left tackle that may or may not work out. Just look at Trent Brown. I think Colton Miller plays well when he's got a really good guard next to him. And with Richie Incognito coming back, he's going to play even better. I don't think he gives up on plays. He's definitely working out for the Raiders, and I think Derek Carr likes him a lot and trusts his blind side there. Other than that, I mean, you can always go back to the Derwin James pick, and you can do that with any pick, like the woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I like it. I had to digest it. I think what was it? The Niners took McGlinchey. Yeah, and everybody was.
And he's been better than him.
Oh, what happened there? But he didn't work out.
Yeah,
he didn't work out. Yeah. So I think they got the steal there with the draft. But I know we're going to get into the draft later in the show, but I'm curious to see what you guys think about where they go with the right tackle. But as far as Colton goes, well deserved. It was, obviously it puts us a little pressure on with the $7 million cap hit, but it is what it is. They're going to figure it out. It's not like we're not going to play or have a full roster,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
So before we go to the draft, and I was going to do something real quick, but let's roll with the Raiders. According to Vincent Bonsignor and Ian Rappaport, the Raiders are talking to Carl Joseph to come back. What are your thoughts about Carl Joseph maybe returning in silver and black, Sean?
Oh, I'm all for it. I've seen links to Clinton Dix and Kenny Vaccaro. I'd rather take Carl over either of them. It's not that Carl is that amazing or great. I just feel like he checks a box. He's been in the house. He's been in the building. He knows the organization. If he's willing to come back to Gruden and the grips of this franchise, I'm happy with that. But you still have to address safety with some depth, some rookies, some upside behind him and impact. But I think he's a good tackler. And we missed 145 tackles, something around that last year. Tackling was an issue.
2.6 million tackles missed.
I mean, I'd probably shake my head and believe you, but honestly, I think that's what he brings. He can tackle well. He doesn't have to he is a heavy hitter, kind of like Abram is, but he won't have to play that because Abram's there. So it kind of sounds like a nice mix to me. To me, bring him in. He comes on a nice veteran-friendly deal. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree. To tell you the truth, I was gonna wear my Carl Joseph jersey
Oh,
right now,
yeah.
but
Haitian Hammer.
it had like a bunch of beer.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited for it. I think that I was sad to see him leave, especially missing on what was it, the 12th pick, 16th pick. I can't remember where he was. But West Virginia Mountaineer, man, I dig it.
Yeah, no question. I'm okay with it as long as I think it's more. I don't think he's playing free. He's not playing free, right? I mean, he's a strong safety.
Well, but Abram's not playing free.
So like, I mean, exactly. So I mean,
piece
like,
of the puzzle.
a piece of the puzzle. Maybe
First, second down. I don't know.
First, I mean, depth. I don't know. I mean, like, so I mean, this is a good tackler. Can hit people. Had a good year with Cleveland. Made some plays with Cleveland. The PFF numbers were okay. They're actually better with the Raiders. So I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they weren't that bad with the Raiders. So we'll see what happens there. It's for somebody who left and had a little bit of success. They signed John Johnson out there in Cleveland, so that may made their secondary room, that safety room, a little bit crowded. So maybe that meant for him having that time where he just had to go as far as that goes. I am going to throw up here real quick, and this is kind of the PFF grades for the Raiders last year, and this is the current lineup as the roster sits right now. We know Carl. We know our beautiful safety. I'm not sorry, our beautiful nickel corner. Nevin Lawson is going to be out for the first 2 games, of course. You know how that goes. How do you take performance-enhancing drugs and not perform? I have no idea, but he did. So looking at we all know this. I'm only putting this up there for just a quick second, just so people can see. But what do you like going into the draft before we start talking about it? The biggest needs for the Raiders in the draft, and then we can go right ahead and what they should do. Kind of what our overview is, what they should do in the draft.
I'll take a swing at it first. I'm still looking at the defensive side of the ball, to tell you the truth. I think the wide receiver room is kind of a revolving door there. I'm not concerned about that. The offensive line, obviously, you're looking at right tackle. That's a big eyesore, but we lost because the defense lost last year, and that's where I'm keeping it. We had a makeshift offensive line. I know everybody's talking about left tackle or guard, but you know what? Cable made it work with all the peanuts he had. Wide receiver, I think we're okay there. Running back, I think we're okay there. Obviously, the quarterback position is there, but I'm looking at the pass rush. I'm not so sure they go safety here. I think they still go pass rush, whether that's on the line or a linebacker. But I'll tell you, man, I there's so many routes they can go, but Parsons is jumping out at me. That guy looks like a freak. I don't know if he's going to be there at 17, but that's who I have a big heart circled on right now, like a big silver and black heart. I want to see him in a Raider uniform.
Sean?
Oh man, it's hard. Like when you flash PFF to me, I get really offended because I love watching the games as a kid and growing and developing and trying to mature. I don't know everything. I ain't the best film head. I'm not the best, anything, but I'm just looking at the game and I'm like, Cleveland Farrell is our highest rated defensive player, according to that.
To me, I mean, I take it for what it is. I mean, I see your point. I see your point. He was rated 76?
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Jeff Heath was the
it was Farrell. Farrell was 76. 16th out of 109.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I think where it stands for me is there's a lot of things on there I can fight a case for. Arnett, injured rookie year. He had a brace on. He couldn't lift weights. He couldn't tackle. He couldn't wrap up. He couldn't do his tool bag is being aggressive and jamming people. He could not do that.
Yes.
So there's certain players. Ruggs. Wide receiver is a position where you really have to know how to fundamentally move within the constraints of the offense. And he had a bad offseason because of COVID. He's skinny. He needs more weight to get off press coverage. He needs a lot. There's so many things, but I think where I'm looking, if I align what we see on this team on draft, for me, I'm okay with the offensive tackle in the first round. And I think it's going to happen. I love Tevin out of Oklahoma State. I feel he's just like another Colton Miller. He's a tall, height, lengthy, girthy, athletic, moving player, and they're talking about a little bit more zone scheme. So I think he makes sense. Second round, I think second round is where we see a surprise pick. That's just how I'm looking at it. I'm feeling like Gruden will play his cards. He has to add to the offense. I feel like second round, something weird is going to happen because of this draft. They're literally talking about 4 quarterbacks going in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4 to start the draft. I personally think guys like Tua might be traded. Guys like, I mean, there's weird things that are going to happen, right? Darnold already went last week. Like, there's Jimmy G might go. Other people might go. Like, quarterbacks are going to be shifting around the league. Everyone's going to be lost in this frenzy. And I feel like the Raiders hopefully can benefit from the crazy and chaos beneath them, because they're not going to do anything at the quarterback position in this draft. Let's just be honest. They won't. They already gave Peterman a contract. They restructured Mariota a contract. Carr might be playing for his new contract this offseason or whatever. So I don't foretell that, but I feel like they have to be calculated and see what happens. I will say this: in the first round, if a guy like Micah Parsons falls to 17, what you did, you gave money to Morrow and Littleton and Kwiatkowski, they need to add him. But we'll see. I mean, it's the Raiders, man. They might overdraft someone. They might. I would. Hey, if the tackle draft is that great, then move back. Move back when at 17. If all these other teams are moving up, like, show you believe that you're gonna break 500 this year because you know you need to add.
Yeah. For me, I got a couple of points here, and one is the Raiders could benefit from this being a boring draft. And when I say boring draft, I mean hammering home on the stuff that you need. And I know it's not sexy. I don't usually see people walking around with offensive lineman jerseys, but I mean, that's really where I want to see it. I think that this is a good draft for it. Give me a boring draft. Give me, Elijah Vera Tucker. Give me, Tevin Jenkins. Give me, I'm not really big on Alex Leatherwood, but there's in the later rounds, maybe a guy like Landon Dickerson, who played at Alabama and played every single position on the offensive line.
Yeah, everywhere.
That's a really good piece to kind of mess with. But like, I just make it boring. Also, double up on offensive line, double up on safety. There is a kid. I mean, draft a safety who you feel like can start, and then listen, if you can somehow walk away with Andre Sisco, who is who 13 interceptions in 24 games. That's pretty
nice.
Good. Last time I checked, I can't. If I go 24 games with the Raiders, do they have 13 picks? I don't think they do. So
no.
I would jump all over that. Use that flexibility you have. Don't take 8 players. Sean, you made a good point about less picks. They need to not. I don't want to see 8 new players. I want to give me the best of the best. As far as that goes, give me 4, give me 5. Trade up if you have to. And then seriously, just don't fall for the okie doke with Kyle Pitts. What Kyle Pitts. Don't fall for the Jalen Waddle. Like don't take away, just put a muzzle on the head coach. Like you cannot. I mean,
blindfold and a muzzle and earmuffs.
This draft really is a Tom Cable draft and a Gus Bradley draft. Give these guys some pieces.
I agree. I like that.
It has to be a draft for those 2 guys. Otherwise, it's not going to be. They're not going to be successful. I think the kid Olaraje out of Georgia, that'd be the one. If they went pass rusher.
Yeah.
Play that Leo, that'd be the one guy who I would say, okay,
be great.
get him early, and then like maybe in the second round they gotta get some of those picks to move up to get a safety or get a tackle or whatever. Safeties usually don't get picked early, like
Right.
So
You're
so
good
we'll
point.
so yeah so we'll see what happens there. As far as that goes, with the Raiders. So those are kind of my points. I don't really. I mean, listen, we're trying to give our audience an overview of what we think.
Yeah.
I kind of put it out there because I wanted people to say, like, listen, we are unblue check marks and we know exactly what they need. We're not in the offices in Henderson and we know what they need. So anything that comes away, like signing Richard Sherman isn't going to help the safety situation. So
No.
Exactly. So it's not.
Good thing they haven't signed him yet. So
yeah,
that's a good sign.
Yeah,
they wait till after. Someone like that, to see his value where he's at now, you wait till after the draft. Okay,
well,
Richard,
he said it himself. He wants to get your young dog, your young pups in there, then you bring the old dog in. And I hope they bring him in just for the translation of Gus Bradley and what's going on. We just need that other alpha dog out there, and he's one of the alpha dogs in all of the NFL, not just on the one team.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I love that, and I think it would be a huge facelift for the defense with Ngakoue and then bringing him in. And then if Kotowski can continue to play well, and maybe Littleton kind of picks it up too, I think we'll be all right.
Exactly.
So I think he's good. He's going to the defensive side of the ball, as opposed to Witten, who came in last year in the offense to mentor and got a huge role when we thought it was a mentor role.
Great point.
Gus Bradley might take Sherman and be like, Sherman, you might play 26 snaps a game, but you're gonna mentor and be on the sideline, help me with these young guys. So I hope that's how they look at it as well.
Yeah. We had a question from the 718 for the text line, talked about interior defensive line in this draft. I talked about this player with Ryan Holmes on the Put on Waivers NFL show, and if you take Christian Balmore and it's the second or third round, I can live with it. He can't be a first round pick.
Ooh.
He can't be. And if he doesn't last the second round, it's okay. I'm good. I'm good with that. Like he's a guy who does not play hard every time. And if you're doing that at Alabama for Nick Saban, and then you're getting that stream of cash every game check, like I'm worried about a player like that. I'm not sure if you guys have any thoughts about Christian Balmore in response to this question from the text line. But I like the ability is there. He could, but like he's just. And when I've talked to BD and talked to other people who watch film, and I saw something for myself, he spends a lot of time on the ground as well too. So what are your thoughts about if they go in the interior defensive line? I don't think it's a great draft for interior defensive line unless you go in the 4s and 5s.
I agree. I think if these players last to the second, third rounds, you can't pass them up. The value's there. Is he the most impactful player at the 17th spot? I mean, you take the best player, but it's the Raiders. You don't know what these guys are going to do. They're going to do something stupid. They're going to be disappointed. And I'll stick to my guns on this. I do hope they trade out of that pick that they're in right now, unless there's some kind of miracle that somebody is that you can't pass up on is there. I just don't know who the guy is there. That's there. I don't know who is the guy you can't pass up after the 15th, the first 15 picks. And Sean, I think you're right. It's going to be the first four picks are going to be quarterbacks. So that benefits us, but then again, it's the Raiders. Like they're going to do something that's going to hit. Like what is that one guy that was at the draft with his face, like, and he turns his head. That's going to be all of us. And I've just given up hope on getting my heart set on one. I like Parsons a lot. I just like it. But I don't think he's going to be there. The kid from Notre Dame, I mean, he looks good on tape. I don't know if he's going to be there. I don't know. Yeah. So, and you got to think Tanner Muse is still there too. We don't know where he's going to be at. So yeah.
I do.
So there's going to be a head scratcher. It's going to be a head.
I do think they could benefit from the Raiders could benefit from people taking a lot of wide receivers and quarterbacks early. so good quality players get to
Yeah.
drop down, drop down, drop down. I mean,
Pitts is
if
gonna go. Yeah, all those guys are gonna go early. So.
part of me doesn't want to see what happens in Niner country if they draft Mac Jones, though. I do.
Oh,
I do gotta. They're already
you
like,
can't do it. You can't do it. Can you?
This is.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm
that
just
would
saying.
be
I'm just
the
saying.
Mitch Trubisky move
Yeah.
up for Mitch Trubisky, and
Yeah.
Mahomes goes picks after that. That would be the equivalent to me. I mean,
So the
'cause you're saying,
Panthers. Yeah, so the Panthers made their deal, right? So I thought it was a pretty good deal. They got Darnold at a nothing that's gonna be crazy for him, right? So a couple stats about Darnold. He has thrown out of seven he's thrown 723 passes of his NFL career in 3 years with the Jets from behind in the game.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like he was never, they were never leading. And then I guess he also been hit, been on the ground 98 times in 3 years.
That's not good.
That's not good. That's not
Yeah,
good. But I do think if they're able, but if they didn't give up a pick early, so if that's where like a Kyle Pitts, or like if they go get if Penny Sewell from Oregon drops down, that can
Lamar
help.
Chase.
That could help them a lot too, as well too.
Yeah.
So did you see? I am a sucker for workout videos. Did you see Lamar Chase working out with?
Oh, I did.
Josh Jacobs in the sand?
Oh yeah, in the
sand.
Lamar Chase to me was like my wide receiver one all the way, and then of course the Bama product and other people splash and different things. But yeah, that's a interesting thing for the Raiders to keep an eye on, is what happens with these teams that now have a luxury pick or now are looking at things differently. I feel like the Panthers, they did well. How do you judge a quarterback with Adam Gase? Like, how do you commit? How do you, right? Like, look at Tannehill. He had Adam Gase, right? And now he's off and on, and his career has resurged, and he's a franchise quarterback making a lot of. There's other players that get touched by him that have a chance. So I don't know.
And keeping it in the AFC West, I know that even though they did hire a new GM in Denver, you know, John Elway has a lot to say, and John Elway is still trying to justify Drew Lock, which is, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Please continue to do so. Yes. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think Lance is. I think I can see the team that people are talking about trading up for Lance in the draft is the Washington football team, because they
already moved on from.
They moved on. I mean, they're not ready to just say, hey, Ryan Fitzpatrick is our quarterback. He can't be your quarterback for. We all see in 16 games of what that looks like, no matter what the situation is, as far as that goes. I wonder, like in the scouting community, when you're a scout and when you're with the Raiders, to do all that work, and then just to have. I mean, you're a scout, so you're on the bottom. So you're not necessarily going to get like your guy all the time. Like, that you're not a GM, but like to see that guy to give him to see that guy just like, just walk in the room and just like blow up what you just, and pick up Brandon Parker. Like, it's just, like, what are your thoughts if you're working in that room? Like, how do you even like, how do you like function, in that room with a Gruden and Mayock, sitting there just, maybe making a move that, in your heart is just not the right one.
Man, you got to feel like disgruntled, right? Because you're there like working and putting in the time and the hours on the film, and it's all for nothing, right? It kind of like, I'm a regular person. I won't say what I do, but I've been in those times where I have projects and management and things and appraisals and different, and you bring something to the table and someone's like, yeah, thanks, Sean, and something completely else. You're like,
I like that.
And then later you see the failure. You're like, you got the bigger paycheck than me, but I told you this wasn't going to work. So that must be, I can't imagine being a scout at whatever odd level, and how they take you serious or not, or what type of input you give actually makes an impact so difficult. And everyone knows that. Like with the Raiders, it's not even close to any other organization. Like not even close with the type of lack of football knowledge that Mark Davis has, with the type of Mayock's role is just a yes man to Gruden. It's all Gruden. Gruden is the head of football operations. Everything is Gruden. Don't let anyone tell you anything else.
Yeah. Also, I know a lot of Raider folks DM the show and talk about how much. And we have another question from like the 203 talking about Richie Grant. Like, I like Richie Grant. I like him a lot. UCF. I mean, they have become a team that really has put players in the pros consistently. I just don't. If they don't draft him, just don't lose your mind. Because I wouldn't either. I mean, nothing you could do about it. I love him. I think he would be there. I think the kid from TCU would be a good. We could be also be a good be a good guy. I wish Andre Cisco was healthy. I think he's dynamic. He's worth taking a risk on. Hopefully he lasts like till. I mean, that's the guy. If they have the back-to-back picks,
then
that would be a guy who I would take advantage of and say, hey, I don't care if I have already drafted a safety. He's so good that I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity to get him because he's a playmaking safety who can get interceptions.
I think he's the Grant Delpit from last year.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
From at LSU, who had the great highlights and versatility and playmaking, and then he got a massive injury and worked it out, weeded out, and he dropped a little bit because of it. And then guess what? He got hurt with the Browns as well in his rookie year. But I think Cisco's kind of that player. But yeah, it's strange. We'll just have to see. Like I said, they're going to take those multiple back end picks and use them to move down and flip and flop. And like we talked to Heidi Fang earlier on, I really think the Raiders are going to do something big that no one's seeing because they have to free up some money and flexibility to see how they do pre and post draft. If they don't, I see about the same type of results on this roster going into the season, a 17-game season. So
is there anybody who, like, let's just say anybody who you love right now as far as
draft
that could be there at 17?
JC Horn is a Horn at cornerback. I mean, I feel like he's a top tier type of player. Parsons, top tier type of player. I didn't get much input in earlier, but I'm actually okay with taking Barmore at 17. I thought he was one of the players that early mocked because we've addressed the outside part of the pass rush, and Mayock and Gruden have talked about how disruptive an inside pass rushers be. That will now be a combination of Hankins and Pharrell is going to be pushed inside. Let's just be honest. And Jefferson, who we signed as well, who has some familiarity with Gus. But I think that we might keep it rotational there. But I don't know. I don't know if there's what if Najee Harris, like, what if he's there?
Oh, please. Oh, my God.
He's a running back.
Oh, my God.
And Gruden's like, I want 3 Bama running back. Hey, do not
cousin.
talk like that's not possible. I mean, that's just weird things. There's weird things. I will say this. I will say, like, I'm always like wanting to see a Notre Dame player end up with the Raiders. I don't think so, but Tommy Tremble, he plays tight end. I don't think he's the second best tight end in this class. I think that's the stupidest thing I've heard. But he is an offensive lineman. Like, if you lose Witten and you want a guy that can come in and protect the edge and run block, I think that's a guy but that's I think he should fall to the 3rd round. If he's there, that's something I'd like. But yeah, I don't know. This Raiders team is a wild card. Every year, the media can't vest who they're going to take. They end up taking the shock pick. So nobody had Arnett at cornerback last year. Like, no Ruggs was maybe, like, but no, with all the other guys on the board, nobody would have said that. So I'm expecting a shock pick, overdraft, if you will.
Because that 17, it makes it harder to gauge where they're going to go.
Yep.
And with the majority of the good players, it's probably be taken. And I think
I'm not getting.
Yeah, speak up.
Yeah, I'm not getting you at all, Ken. Ken's having a tough internet day. It's a tough internet day. We can't really hear you.
He's with us
That guy
virtually,
goes.
but not audibly, or however you.
Yeah, how you want to say it. Listen, I mean, again, like I said, I'm rooting for that boring draft. Because I mean, I think some of these teams out here who really are do very well, like Baltimore. Like I mean, Baltimore lost all these guys. I watched the show the other day. All these guys that left the Ravens. Do we have any doubt that the Ravens are going to be in the mix for the playoffs next year? Like, do we have any doubts
Right.
at all?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
we're not.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
not. We
yeah,
don't have any
yeah.
doubts. So, they just listen. It's all about this draft is all about Tom Cable, all about Gus Bradley. Give those guys what you need. We got you got my boy Moreau and Zay Jones and Ruggs out there, and John Brown out there. We're working with Derek, which is when you have a new guy and the rookie working out there, and those two are
Need
going to
it.
be those two are going to be playing the same position. Those
Oh, yeah.
conversations can help him grow as a wide receiver. So those aren't nothing. I appreciate that. And anytime I see Carr throw to Moreau, I get excited. You guys know I love Foster Moreau.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been trying to get him
I
on
do
this show.
too.
I've been trying to get him on the show since we started, so I'm gonna keep trying. Because I think he's a phenomenal second tight end, opposed
Oh,
to
yeah.
Waller, and then Waller you can flex Waller outside, and do a lot of cool things with them.
He is our number one wide receiver until proven otherwise, right?
Yes, dude.
So,
100 catches.
I mean, so why even pretend?
Yeah. Let's not play games as far as that goes.
What about, like we talked about it before? What do you think? Say they nab their offensive tackle in the second round. They know the guy they want that's going to drop. Let's just say with a mixture of maybe they sign Carl Joseph, maybe they know post draft they'll sign Richard Sherman. I mean, like, what opportunity opens up to where they just take that 17th overall pick and throw it at another team post reactionary to what happens ahead of us to take someone's player, right? To adopt someone on the team.
I've been saying that I would love to see like a interior, like a beast interior lineman, somebody like the guy, Payne from Washington.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Somebody
proven. Let's go.
I would love to get a proven either defensive lineman or defensive or they wouldn't trade a one for a safety, but just somebody who can. They shouldn't. Nobody has one that's worth that pick. So if they can get somebody who can really be a difference maker along with Ndagakwe, who's gonna make it easier for Farrell, make it easier for Crosby. I'm all for that, and I think it's a possibility because I think this draft is so deep as far as tackles go that you can get a tackle, you can get a safety. They always say safety, and the safeties end up going in the second round. Second or third round. So we'll see what happens there. And look at Gus Bradley's career. He's been the guy who drafts safeties. He's not somebody who comes in and with a big time safety all the time. So we'll have to see what happens there. Let's see. Anything else on board?
Not much for me, man. I think we're just at that point in the season where we all get deep in our draft book and kind of start looking at the personnel and things that align. We talked to Heidi earlier and everything. Like I just personally suspect something big will happen pre or post draft to change kind of how they recoup this roster. And I wouldn't be surprised because Gruden, it's a revolving door every offseason. This is a micro rebuild every offseason. It's never been a cohesion. We got our guys in place. We need a couple of this. We need a couple of that. We need a lot, and there's holes everywhere and unproven. So wild card, put all the cards on the deck, and that's what we're gonna see.
Yeah, 858 from on the text line asking how do you think they'll use Drake? I think they're gonna. I think Kenyon Drake has a place in this offense, and I think it's gonna be a place where you can sit there and you can put him and Jacobs on the field at the same time. And I think it's a strong possibility. You can do screens with him. You can do a lot of different things with him, and especially getting him on a linebacker that's going to be a tough deal for any linebacker who tries to cover him one-on-one in space. So and then obviously, listen. I look at it more as, and I listen. The deal isn't fantastic for the Raiders as far as money wise, but to get the player, they probably had to pay a little bit more. If I'm looking at the Cleveland model, if I'm looking at what certain rooms cost, I'm looking at how the room, what the room costs. How much money does a running back room cost? And if the cost is not like blowing people out of the water money wise, then I can live with it. I just want to see him get used.
Yeah.
Like I just want to see him get used. I mean, he's more proven than Lynn Bowden Jr., so I expect him to be used. So I think there's a possibility that he will definitely have a really good season. I think, and he's been a touchdown machine in the red zone. In the red zone, and we need that. No question about it.
Yeah, I think I'm just like, what upsets me is Josh Jacobs last year was supposed to catch over 60 passes, right?
They went to Waller,
and we all But hey, so don't invest in something you're not going to use. Is kind of that's how I'm looking at it. You're going to bring in Kenyon Drake. They're already rumoring putting him in the slot and catching a lot of balls. And you did say, I that's a good point. Like in some, I can meet you halfway with that. About if you look at our wide receiver room, it's cheap. Jalen Richard, Louis Riddick, Alec Ingold, who's a solid person that nobody talks about, and then Josh Jacobs and everything. But
Richard might get cut.
He probably will. The way Riddick's cost is, they'll let it go through camp if Riddick's a healthy veteran. Thank you, Jalen. But the difference I see with that is that Josh Jacobs is gonna be paid. If not, you drafted a running back in the first round and you let them go. That's why running backs are losing value. You get them in the second and third round. So spending $11 million for Kenyon Drake when you could probably get an equal type of player talent in the second or third round easily every draft, if you're a good GM and you're a good talent scouting program, that's what NFL franchises are doing now. So instead, Gruden goes out. We could have handpicked the safety we wanted on a 2-year deal, but no, he didn't. And
But
to me, that's
I totally get it.
And that's why
he's not a developer. He wants veterans on the team all the time. He's not a developer.
And I don't care. I'm more to the points with other people are like, Kenyon Drake is a good player. Like, I'm not at all being like, yay, or no. Why do we? I like the player. I'm just thinking, if you think about needs and urgency and it just seems like we threw more money at him than things that really could have required that money. We could have got the best safety we wanted in the free. If you look at what they were getting signed for, they were there.
If they signed Anthony Harris to this deal, nobody says anything. Everybody says, okay, great offseason. B plus, you got Yannick Ngakoue and Anthony Harris in the same in the same offseason, and then you can go to the draft and do what you feel like doing.
Thank you. And that's where I totally agree, Dwayne. That's where I'm like, okay, you have to work your priority. I mean, people do that in family and business and life, and you have to work your priorities to shore up your other needs, and that's just where I'm like, I like Drake, the player, but I'm like, man, if they don't nail a safety in the draft and we're still looking at like wide open people and flags and obscure, it's just, but that's why Gus Bradley's there. So Gruden has someone new to blame.
Well, I mean, listen, he's surrounded by good friends, so hopefully, he has no excuses as far as that goes. Question from the 80 from another question from 718, the different number. How come I don't wear Raiders gear? I mean, I'm a grown man. I wear what I want. But thank you for listening. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Listen, sometimes I'm wearing Anthony Davis today, so sometimes I feel like wearing a champion.
Seen that.
I'm a Laker fan, and sometimes I wear San Francisco Giants stuff on the show. I mean, those are my teams, and I like seeing some shit. I mean, don't let me dust off the Ed O'Bannon jersey. I do it.
Oh boy,
I do it.
I don't really have anything to. I mean, I wear black. That's my basic color in my bag, anyways. Black and white. Not even on some Raider shit, but wear what you want, man.
For next week, let's give them a little tease here. What do you want to what part of the draft you want to dive into?
So I think
we should probably spend a little time on who we like at quarterback, even though we're not taking a quarterback.
Yeah, we can.
We can.
Yeah, I mean,
and then
they're all going to be gone by the time. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, we
yeah.
can.
Yeah. And then
We should.
we should a little bit. And then and for the Raiders part of it, let's just roll with let's see what we got on. See what offensive lineman we like the best, and then offensive and defensive line. Because
Yeah, I think
that's
O-line,
where
D-line, and we should probably touch a little bit on like depth moves. Especially at safety, because by the time we do the show next, maybe Carl Joseph is a Raider, and like I know you don't agree, but I think he can be something of a free in Gus Bradley's system. I think it's kind of lined up.
Listen, if Jeff Heath is there, I'll take it.
You know what I mean?
Goddamn.
Right, exactly.
I can't do no Jeff Heath.
So I'm there with that, and then I think we can look at the depth things. We can look at the fact that they probably will. Whether people like it, they'll add a tight end. They'll probably add some other things on the back end. We could use
they got three good ones.
We could use a solidified kick returner. We don't really know who that is. Renfro's been a good punt returner.
They've been talking to people have been talking to Patterson. He's been out there. The guy from because have him come back to the Raiders. That would be great. I think that would be
great. And it would. But that was a move that Gruden said no. When he came in, Patterson left, Crabtree left. Like he moved on from that. And I thought Patterson was a Gruden player. He plays special teams. He plays hard. He's likable. He's tough. So
covers
I would
kicks, all that stuff.
Oh
like
my
that.
God! And like you're talking about a guy that is touching most of Devin Hester's return record. So like, if come back, dude. But that's post draft. Let his value decline.
Listen, with I'll say one thing about Vaccaro and Clinton Dix and Trey Boston. The one good thing about it is like the deals are probably already in place, or they know what the Raiders are going to offer, and then the deals only get less
after the draft or
after the draft and after you fill up those spots. So listen, Raider fan, the Raider Nation, thank you for joining us here. Thanks for Heidi. Thanks to Heidi Fang for joining us. And FU to Ken's internet because they just it did not do him
Is it
justice.
snowing in Jersey still? I'm sorry. I live in the
not.
Pacific. I don't even know. It might be,
I don't know. But as far as that goes, I'm really thank you for joining us here. And now listen, we'll get that little QB stuff. I'll sprinkle a little QB stuff in it because I got a lot to say about Mac Jones. So I'm making it short because it's a Niner thing. But I got a lot to say about Mac Jones.
Oh, I feel you.
I don't see it. But whatever.
You're not Kyle Shanahan.
O-line, D-line. Listen, Kyle Shanahan's great, but one winning season in 4 years. O-line, D-line. If you look at the Super Bowl last year, that's where the Buccaneers won that Super Bowl. So let's make
trenches.
Sure the trenches. So that football can change. But that never does.
Stole it from my mouth. I agree. I agree so much. I feel like you can run the spread. You have to be able to run it. If you want the flexibility to play defensive stylistically or offensive stylistically with a full playbook, you're gonna need the big guys. That's just the game. I know the rules benefit the offense more. I know the defense can't touch. It doesn't matter. If you can dominate the trenches on either side of the ball, it opens up everything. So for the Raiders, maybe that makes things work. We'll see.
Maybe it does. And hopefully the man behind me has 11.5 sacks this year. Because he can. That would change a lot defensively as far as that goes. All right, Sean, it's been real as usual, man. I take you, brother.
Absolutely.
Take care. I know you got stuff to do.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for listening. Subscribe.
Rate, review, subscribe, comment. Review. And one thing about YouTube guys, people on the YouTube channel, totally forgot to mention you guys. I will definitely get you in next week. People have a lot of cool comments in there, and we got some new subscribers.
Let's roll with it, and we might be. I think we're coming up on a point where we might have some prizes and things like that.
Yeah,
too,
and then listen and put questions in the comments. That's always a good thing. Put questions in the comments if you can't get a text line. See you guys next time.
All right, peace.
Ray Nation.